Welcome to the Passion Professors Podcast, hosted by Earth.University, where stories of life experiences and purpose inspire and unite humanity. Here's your host, Lindsay Andreotti.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Passion Professors Podcast. I'm Lindsay Andreotti, your host, and today we have an absolutely stellar guest who just until last week probably didn't even know I was going to make him a guest. Just kidding. But Dave Visaya is actually the genius behind all these podcasts that you are hearing. And Dave's company is called Podcast Engineers. He's based out of the Philippines, and he has been listening to, editing, creating, and building podcasters for the past 7 years. He's an amazing human being. And Dave, I feel so grateful to have you on our team. Thank you for coming today. Yay!
It's my pleasure and honor to be here. I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe I'm going to be editing my own voice later.
Exactly. This is what I love about this. And part of the magic of what I think the Passion Professors is about. It's everyday people doing what they love and being who they are that makes this world go round. So, Dave, we couldn't produce this without you. And I am curious, and I want you to tell our listeners, how did you get involved with podcasting? And, how did this become kind of your magic?
Yes. So I was a big fan of podcasts because it changed my life, like literally. I was at this crux of point of my life where I didn't know what to do. I hated my job. I was nowhere. Like I was stuck basically. And I stumbled upon this odd podcast called The Charged Life by Brendan Burchard. So
Nice.
shout out to Brendan.
Yay, Brendan.
And I was listening to it, and he was like talking to me straight to me as if I was like beside him, talking, Dave, you're living this caged life, as he likes to call it, where you're not living a charged life, where you're living to your optimal level. And I was like, okay. So after listening to that, I went out of the house, tried new things, and slowly figure things out, and it really changed my trajectory, which led me to here actually.
I know.
Which I started to work as much as I could, coming from the Philippines, right? So I was just a VA to this company called Bigger Pockets, and they were able to realize that I had this background in music because I was a frustrated musician as well.
Oh,
And
cool.
so it was like a blend of, oh, you should edit our podcast. And okay, so I did it, and 400, almost 400 shows with them. I'm still with them, with that company. They've grown so much, and now I'm helping others as well, like shows like this, Passion Professors, to actually put their voice out there.
I think that's so cool. And in fact, that's sort of how we met. And this is a really neat story too, is that I was wanting someone who could really help this show and this story get told in better, more effective ways. And Dave showed up on my radar, just boom, one day he was there. And it was like, this is what he's meant to do. And I really knew that. So tell us a little bit about how you got started. Like, what was it like for the first editing job you did? What made that fun, and what made you go, oh God, am I going to get it right? Or, whatever you did, tell us a little bit about how it all started.
So the funny thing is, I was taught by the host of that show, like Bigger Pockets, the podcast.
Okay.
And he was using GarageBand. I had GarageBand, and I use GarageBand in my music editing, and playing and recording tracks. It was like, oh, this is fun and quite easy. I know how to cut stuff. But that's when I realized that it's not just it's a different kind of editing, because we're talking dialogues here. And when we're recording, or human as we are, we there are so many crutches along the way, like or repeated words and all those stuff.
Bloopers,
so those are
we call them the bloopers, right?
And I was asking the host, like, what exactly should I do? Because he was like training me on what to cut and all those stuff, and like, just make us sound smarter. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, that's my cue. I'm gonna make everyone smarter. There until now, I'm still, I'm just, that's my job really. When I get an audio, I want to make sure that everyone sounds smarter, snappy, and really, like, and because it all boils down to this core of it. The core of the job is
Yeah.
really to make that message across, bring that across to the audience, which is why I'm here exactly, and why you're there,
Yeah,
and I just want to make
exactly.
that yeah, make
I
that
know for
flow.
Earth University, this is really good because, our message is really one that everyone has a purpose, a passion, something to bring to the
Mhm.
world. And if we can all just find our way to that place and, if you will, get our message heard in whatever we're doing. And not everybody needs to have a podcast.
Yeah.
Not some people need to do other things like build furniture or, you know, teach school or whatever. But the key is to find that thing inside of you. And you really got it the first time we talked. Like, God, that would be so much fun to just listen to what people are doing in the world that is their passion. And one thing I'm dying to ask you because I have never asked you. So if you were going to have your own podcast, what would it be about?
Oh, I do have a podcast. If you
Oh,
haven't heard,
well, wait a minute. I haven't heard. What's it called? What is it called?
So I do have a local podcast called The Big Picture Philippines. So I added Philippines because apparently when I was picking the name, I haven't really thought about it that there would be a lot of other podcasts with
Oh my
with the
gosh.
big picture,
That's so
right? So tip of the
fun.
day. Yeah,
That's
but yeah, so I did that. I mean, that was back 2016, 2017.
okay.
It's all about really just thinking like the big picture, right? Thinking an overview effect,
Yeah.
right? And
Nice.
understanding the beauty of life in a way, and also in business, and mostly business related.
Mhm.
We were interviewing entrepreneurs. So I think, but to answer your question, what podcast would I have if I ever start something?
Yes.
Right? I would say something that I want to get into. Like, I want to be in real estate locally here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So I would say I'd love to start that show and interview, because the thing with podcasting, it's a hack. You can talk to people who are experts in the field,
Yeah.
and they're telling you secrets for free.
Ta-da.
You're the learner.
Yeah.
You're the learner, and you're
That's so
bringing the audience with
true.
you,
Yes,
right? So
exactly.
it's really a hack for me.
That's so
It's a life
wonderful.
hack.
It's a life hack. Exactly. Well, and you just have the best energy and the vibrancy shows in what you're into. So I would imagine you're going
Thank
to
you.
get a ton of followers. And so tell us a little bit, like, if someone was out there right now kind of thinking about, gosh, maybe I could have a podcast, that would be something.
Hmm.
What would be maybe the top 3 things you would tell them to think about or to plan for before just diving in and, recording stuff and pressing go?
I think let me organize my thought here, because I think
Yeah.
this is what's also we talked about when we were first talking about your show.
Yeah.
I
I
think
was
the
just
really
thinking
big
one thing
thing,
because of what you just said.
yeah.
Check and see if other people have the name.
Exactly.
Maybe that's a good
That
place
should be
to
around
start.
top five or
That should
something,
be in
right?
the top 5. Yeah. Don't make the same mistake Dave did in 2016.
Yeah. So, but the most important thing I think is, I think the why in it, like really being clear of what you're doing. Why you're doing this, basically, and
Hmm.
basically answer the other two W questions, the what and who, right?
Hmm.
So you have to be internal with it. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you so passionate about this, right? Speaking of passion, and
Exactly. Yeah.
and this why would actually bring you to the next episodes, right? Because there's a hype in it when you're recording the first time, and all of a sudden you realize this is a commitment. This is sometimes it's more work than you think, and
Yeah.
holding to that why, I think, is really important. That mission, being clear with that mission and what you want to put out there in the world, I
Yeah.
think that's really the number one. Second is you have to be comfortable, I guess, with or be at peace that
Mhm.
you have the message. You're the right person to say it.
Yeah.
A
That
lot
was
of
a hard
people
one for
are not.
me.
Yeah, right.
That,
So
mhm.
sometimes we're our own enemies, right?
Sure.
We kind of tell ourselves you can't do it, but you know what? If you are blessed with that message and if you are passionate about it, I think you are worthy enough to actually do it. So that's a big thing
Yeah.
because so many people hesitate just because they don't think they're the right person, or they think that somebody else is out there. You
Yeah.
know what? There's this famous boxer in the Philippines called Manny Pacquiao. I bet you haven't heard about him, right?
I haven't. No.
Exactly, and it goes the same way. Like it could be Trump, or it could be a famous person, but somewhere in the world, that person, is can't reach that part of the world, right?
You're exactly
So
right. Yeah.
there's always these people who can actually, your close circle, whose message, they might listen to Tony Robbins and okay, yeah, they let it pass, right? But
Right.
if it's you telling it with your own unique message, with your own unique voice,
They hear it.
it's a different story. Yeah, they hear it. Exactly. So
I
that's
get
one
it.
thing. So
Mm.
never hesitate yourself if you have that calling. And I think the third is uh, I can't think of a term, but basically just doing it, really, just recording it,
Just jump
and
in.
just
Yeah.
yeah, just jump in. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really simple. I mean, anyone can figure it out. Like, set
Yeah.
it up, record on Zoom if you want to. You can start lean anyway. The content would. And once you go into the next level, you can hire people like me or so many people out there who offers the service, or delegate some tasks so that you can just go to the meat and you know of podcasting, which is recording and
Which is,
really
yeah.
putting showing up. Yeah,
Oh, I
so that's
love
it.
that.
I think that's it.
No, and I really appreciate you saying that because, for me, in my own creation of the Passion Professor podcast, it was really, I just got so enthusiastic about interviewing people. I mean, my why is because I genuinely want to know your story. How did you
Mm,
get where you are? How did this come about? When did you know that you were an audio engineer? And you kind of shared a little bit of that story, but I love this stuff for pretty much every person I've ever met. I want to ask them these questions. So I'm
mm,
handing out my business card all the time, asking people, hey, would you like to be on my podcast? Because everyone's got a piece of passion that they would like to share. And maybe they don't want to create their own podcast, but they'll happily be on mine to share their
yeah,
story or their message. And then the second
amazing.
part of that, and I'm loving and I want to hear some more about how you've mentored people in your experience in podcasting. But uh, I really feel like our next generation is looking for stories like this to help see themselves in something that they want to do. And I love the fact that you were and still are a musician who loves audio and other aspects of music. And then you tie that together with
Mm,
storytelling. And you said, I want to do this thing. I bet you there's no fewer than 150 million kids out there that if they could hear this story, they go, you mean I could do that? Because right now they're still thinking about what do I want to be when I grow up or after I've gotten my education. So you get the idea. That's the whole point of this podcast. So it's
exactly. Yeah.
awesome that you're part of this team and this creation of this energy of learning. So I want to hear more about like how have you mentored others in this world of podcasting? And you can use me as an example, but you also have worked with lots of other people. So, talk about your mentorship.
Yeah, so I mean, I was a technical guy, right? In a way, because I was editing the technical stuff that people don't want to do exactly.
Oh no,
Because you
we
spend
want
a
to
lot
do.
of
We just
time
don't know
listening.
how.
Yeah, I mean, you learn stuff, and it you take hours to listen through the episode. So, uh, usually, these things, it's not a hard task, I would say. I mean, not putting down any editors out there or podcast producers. I mean, it just takes time, and it takes dedication to actually be passionate about helping and listening, and just figuring it out.
And telling the
But for
story.
my case, I
Mhm.
what I did, I since my inner mission really is to put that like voice out there for anyone who starts a podcast, right? So
Mhm.
I did a course, somehow a course. I did it for a while with actually last year during the pandemic, because everyone was like, it was the world stopped,
Right.
and people were like, "What should we do now?" And there's so many opportunities I joined a seminar where they mentioned podcasting could be a great thing for you, or just starting a YouTube channel or whatever, right? So building your online brand basically.
Right.
So, and I was like, "Oh, we need to learn about podcasting because it's like one of the easiest entry in a way, because you don't have to show up, and some audio podcasts you don't have to show up and and do so, wear
Like,
something nice or
right.
whatever, right? You can't just
That's a
be
good point.
you
You can
can't be
do an
wearing
audio
anything.
podcast in your pajamas, people. Just letting you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
so that was, and you can do solo shows, and you can do it on your car or whatever, right? So
Right.
I raised my hand. Hey, and I think that's a key thing as well, like being really open
Available.
to it, like
Mhm.
open yourself and basically helping, trying to help, right? So
Yeah.
I helped. I think I got like 50 people joining at that webinar, or an online class,
Yeah.
and we did it. Like we did. I think out of the 50, of course, like only 10 did, or 10 or 20 people in who really did their podcast. But the thing is, that's how I started. I mean, that's how I did it, like teaching podcasts, which is really amazing. And it actually got me. That's why I got that story about Brendan Burchard, because I was digging, right? What
Mm.
was that got me in here? And that
Yeah.
was it. That was that podcast, could change a person like thousands of miles across the globe.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and maybe Lindsay, someone is already listening. I don't know, maybe your
Hey,
neighbor or family member,
anybody.
but it
I
could be
know
someone else,
somebody.
right? From
Right.
different state, for whatever, right? So it's
It's
so
so true.
yeah, so it's that it. That's it. That's why I was so dedicated to it. That's why I really love what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and I'm also I'm as long as people want to start, put their message out there, I'll be here.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, to all of our listeners out there, and I know there's going to be thousands who listen to this, Dave. I just know it. They're coming, and they
Thank
may
you.
not know that it's there yet, but it's coming. And what I think is, if they want to meet up with somebody who's as dedicated as you for telling a story and investing in real estate, you're the perfect person for them to contact. I mean, honestly, why not have both? Maybe you'll get to work with other real estate investors in their podcasts. I mean, what I want to say to the audience is, everything is a go if it aligns with your heart. Your head will make it
Mhm.
happen, but your heart knows when it's like, that's the thing. I just want to do that.
Yeah.
And Dave, you're a perfect example of it. So if people wanted to get a hold of you and they wanted to, get in touch or whatever, how should they do that? What would be the best way?
Yeah, it's just go over to podcastengineers.com. That's the best way.
Okay.
I'm the one messaging that, handling the emails, so no problem at all. Just email
Awesome.
me right away, and we can talk.
Okay. That I know they're going to. I have one last question for you. So if
Awesome.
you could do anything you want in the real estate world, what do you want to do over
Mm.
there?
So I got this big dream, right? So
I love this
I'm
part.
all about this big vision, big dream. Right? So I want to start this apartment complex, right? So that's if I can do anything, if I can build anything, I want to have this apartment complex where there's this place where it's like a family, like if
Mm,
I was thinking like a really big place where like there's this activity areas in there, because I'm a big fan of seminars as well, like teaching,
yeah.
like just teaching. I want to teach
You
personally,
want to
like
teach? Yeah.
I mean, I came from nowhere. I'm nobody, right? And I'm starting to build on dreams that I had, right?
Nice.
So if anyone, like, I have this, it's like a community where people can rent their places,
Yep.
and there will also have this group where, or just a common place where they can learn something,
Love
which
it.
is that I think, I want to have that vision where, okay, if you want to rent and learn something,
Right.
or right,
Well,
and
I
maybe a
just think,
podcast studio in there, right?
boom. That's what I was just going to say. A music
Right, and you
studio and a
can rent
podcast
there.
studio. Why not? Dave, I love
Yeah,
the
and
vision. I do. That's
yeah.
amazing. And I'm 110% sure that some of our other listeners who are participating in this, they're going, I want to help him with that. So if you want to help Dave see that vision become a reality, please do get in touch with him at dave@podcastengineers.com. I mean, literally, that is one of the coolest things ever. And I was actually walking around during the pandemic going, all these shopping malls are going to go away. Why don't we convert those places into livable, like a place you could live?
Yeah.
And how cool would that be? So I got into the vibe you were talking about there. I could see something like that. There would be fun stuff,
Yeah.
including a bowling alley or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can rent there for a while, but your life's change after, right?
You
Something like
got it.
that.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
have that, right? Yeah.
Okay,
So
well, I'll come and teach a class anytime you want, Dave. That's awesome.
I'm gonna have a passion session there, passion professor session.
We're
Come
in.
visit me in the Philippines.
I'm in. I'm down with that program. Oh, Dave,
Amazing.
you're
Yeah.
just a delight. And I got to tell you, you're one of the best audio engineers I've ever met in my whole entire
Thank you.
life. And I've met quite a few. So I just want you to know that's really cool. And we're just so honored to have you as a passion professor at Earth University. And also, you're the genius behind this podcast. So I hope you can edit out everything that we've said that, just doesn't work today.
It will work.
It'll work. We're so good. Well, to all of us who are listening out there, I just want to say thank you so much for being part of the Earth University community, for being a passion professor yourself. Please get in touch with us. You can send me an email at hello@earth.university, or you can go right to our website, earth.university. That's it. That's the only thing. There's no .com. And if you like what you heard today, please like, subscribe, tell your friends. We want to get the word out for Dave, for Earth University, and for you. So thanks so much for listening. And until next time, see you later.